On the way back from the prenatal checkup with my boyfriend during my 5th month of pregnancy, he suddenly spoke up, "I'm getting married to someone my family arranged, a well-matched blind date. We're perfectly compatible family background, mindset, temper, even our habits in bed. She's exactly the ideal marriage partner for me." The baby inside me gave a soft kick, and my belly tightened in waves. My face stiffened horribly. I stared straight ahead, my voice bitter. "What about me?" He didn't look at me, his voice still calm and unwavering. "I'll send you to another country, give you a house worth no less than $4 million and an unlimited black card." After Atlas Chen paused, I spoke quietly. "And then be your canary," a mistress kept on the side. "With a child that has to live in the shadows?" He said nothing. Silence fell all around us. After a long while, "If you insist on seeing it that way, I can't help it." As his words landed, my hands clenched tightly onto his clothes. Pains began to cramp my stomach, and my face turned pale in an instant. Only then did Atlas Chen turn to look at me as if granting me charity. The next second, he panicked, sizing me up nervously. "What's wrong? Does your stomach hurt?" Before I could speak, he picked up the car phone and told the driver ahead, "To the hospital, hurry." His anxious actions didn't seem fake. I stared hard at the man in front of me. A flicker of hope I didn't even notice rose in my heart. "Did your family force you? Did they make you do this arranged marriage? Don't they accept me and this baby?" In that moment, I thought, if only he would lie to me, say he had no choice because his family disapproved. Even if I had to be a hidden canary, I would accept it. But Atlas Chen pressed his lips together, pulled me into his arms, and said nothing. My heart gradually turned cold, bitterness filling my mouth. The driver arrived at the hospital quickly. I lay on the hospital bed, watching Atlas Chen handle my admission procedures. A nurse walked in with an admission form. "What's your relationship to the patient?" I lifted my eyes to the man who looked dignified just standing there. He said, "Friend." The light in my eyes died instantly. Only after the nurse finished the registration and left did I speak. "I'm carrying your child. Aren't we even boyfriend and girlfriend anymore?" Atlas Chen hesitated for a moment, then walked up to me with a calm expression, naturally tucking the blanket around me. "I'm getting married, Clara. My fiancé wants me to keep a clean reputation outside." He spoke so casually, as if commenting on the nice weather. I laughed. So I was the unclean one, a past Atlas Chen needed to hide. My child and I, we were the ones he needed to abandon. Suddenly I grew curious. "When did this start between you two?" Atlas Chen answered honestly, too honestly to even bother lying to me. "The day I found out you were pregnant. But the decision to marry was made only these past few days." My fingertips trembled uncontrollably. I suddenly grabbed a nearby water cup and threw it at him. The cup slammed hard against his forehead, then shattered on the floor. The night I found out I was pregnant, Atlas Chen said he had to go on a business trip. All night I imagined how happy he'd be when he heard the news. What a lovely family of 3 we would be. My stomach ached again in waves. I sucked in a quiet breath. What am I? What is this child? Atlas Chen ignored his own wound. Blood trickled slowly down his forehead. He waved off his approaching assistant, held my hand, and spoke earnestly. "Have the baby. I'll give you more than enough living expenses. This is our child, Clara. I'm more than looking forward to his birth." I closed my eyes, refusing to look at him. "Get out." Atlas Chen didn't move. He stayed by my side, guarding me. Even the wound on his forehead was only treated briefly. Suddenly a phone rang. Atlas Chen didn't avoid me, answered the call, and stepped outside. After he left, my mind was in chaos, so I simply took out my phone and started scrolling. Before long, a local trending topic caught my eye. "No way, which rich guy is proposing now? Luxury yacht, big screen confession, even drones. Did you see?" The girl said yes, and they set off tons of fireworks. "So happy." My heart skipped a beat when I saw the trend. My finger tapped in uncontrollably. Luxury drone spelled out two names with a big heart in the middle. CRS, BXW. They were the initials of Atlas Chen's name. My eyelids twitched violently. I threw the phone away like it was burning me. My breathing quickened, and my stomach started hurting again. The field monitor strapped to me blared a sharp alarm. The nurse rushed in at the sound. "Where's the father? Why are you alone here? I told you to stay calm, not to get upset. Why would you do something to hurt the baby?" I listened silently to the nurse's scolding, tears slowly sliding from the corners of my eyes. She paused, fell silent, then sighed. "You'd better call the baby's father over soon. You can't stay here alone." I hummed softly, my throat still hoarse from crying. After the nurse left, I picked up my phone and scrolled through it in self-torture. Atlas Chen's long empty moments finally had his first posted back view of him and a girl. They stood intimately together, the background exactly the photo from yesterday's trend. Their initials and brilliant fireworks. No caption at all, yet everything was said. Tears fell from my eyes uncontrollably. We'd been together for 6 years. No matter how I begged, he never posted anything about me on his moments. He never let me post a video showing his face either. Once I accidentally captured him in a clip, and Atlas Chen coldly told me to delete it. I once asked him why he never posted me. Was I not good-looking enough? Atlas Chen gently patted the top of my head. "I just don't like being this high profile. Does not posting on moments mean I don't love you?" I had no reply, and never brought it up again. Now I saw it clearly, I just wasn't worthy. He never thought we would marry. He made his choice from the very beginning. My fingertips moved slightly. I liked his first moments post and commented, "All the best." He probably saw it and didn't care, or missed it among so many congratulations. He didn't come back that entire night. It wasn't until the next afternoon that Atlas Chen came to pick me up. I stared at his changed clothes and the unfamiliar scent of shampoo on him, silent for a long time. He acted as if nothing had happened. I suddenly spoke, "Can you not marry her?" Atlas Chen bent down on one knee to put my shoes on for me, but his words cut like a knife. "Then who should I marry?" "You. Clara, you know the gap between us is too wide." My face paled. I asked unwillingly, "Then why were you with me all these years? Why let me get pregnant?" Atlas Chen finished putting on my shoes, stood up, and carefully lifted me into his arms to carry me outside. He was utterly rational and clear-headed. "I thought you always knew our place." I smiled bitterly. I didn't know. He was a young master raised in luxury in the city, able to throw around a $4 million house and a black card without a second thought. I was just an orphan struggling to survive. My only advantage is a fairly pretty face and a decent education. I once told myself never to fall in love with him, at least not completely. To leave myself a way out. But no one knew what someone as brilliant as Atlas Chen meant to someone like me, living like a rat in the gutter. It meant flying into a flame, falling into his net, never to escape. I loved him hopelessly. The lucky part was that he liked me too. But he also kept me sharply, rationally, outside the bounds of marriage. A dull pain spread through my chest, as if my whole heart was breaking in two. I rested my head lightly on his chest and whispered, "Let's break up." Atlas Chen acted as if he hadn't heard me, not pausing his steps at all. Only when we got home did he pull a contract out of his bag. "Sign this. I'll send you to the US to wait for the baby." I refused to take it. Atlas Chen set it down in front of me, bent down, and kissed the corner of my eye like he always did. "I'm going back to my family's old house to prepare for the wedding. I hope to see your signature when I return. Even if I'm married, we won't be apart, Clara." The front door closed. I picked up the paper and tore it to pieces. Overwhelming despair and powerlessness almost drowned me. How rational he was keeping lovers and wives completely separate. My face grew paler. I lay on the bed and closed my eyes heavily. I didn't wake up until I heard movement in the living room. I got up and walked out. A slim girl was sitting on the sofa drinking tea. She tilted her head at the sound of my footsteps, then pointed to the seat beside her, acting fully as the mistress of the house. Sit. My fingers dug into my palms. I struggled to stay calm. She looked me up and down and spoke. I'm Luna Bai, Atlas Chen's fiancé. He proposed to me already. Our families are arranging the wedding date. You know that, right? I spaced out for a moment, keeping my face calm. I knew that look well, the way superiors looked at ants. I didn't want to show cowardice in front of her. I've heard. She tucked her hair behind her ear, and a pink diamond the size of a pigeon egg on her finger flashed before my eyes. It stung my eyes badly. I had seen this diamond ring before. Months ago, Alice Chen had been looking at ring designs non-stop. I'd seen them when tidying up his study. It cost a fortune. Back then, I thought we were going to get married. I never imagined it was a carefully chosen engagement ring for someone else. Luna Bai set a stack of documents in front of me. He said he'd settle all the trouble before the wedding. But I don't quite trust him. Even if I don't love him that much, I don't want dirty things buried in my marriage to ruin it. I looked into you. You have excellent grades. Are you interested in studying abroad? I stayed silent and said nothing. Luna Bai spoke in a soft tone. You're a smart woman. The Chun family will never let you in, and Atlas Chun will never marry you. Even if it weren't me, it would be someone else. Abort this child, take the money I give you, and go far away. Forget all this and start a new life. Atlas Chun can't protect you. The Chun and Bai families won't let this child be born. You'll only ever be a mistress who can't see the light. With that, she pushed a business card toward me. Think it over and call me before my wedding. I'll arrange everything. After Luna Bai left, my straight back slumped. I didn't snap out of it until night fell, when the baby inside me kicked twice in dissatisfaction. The housekeeper had already cooked dinner, and I sat alone at the table. A warm breath pressed against my back. Alice Chun kissed the corner of my mouth and gently touched my belly. Luna Bai came over. Alice Chun replied indifferently, rolling up his sleeves. She's not a bad person. She won't go too far. Just don't mind her. I'll make soup to nourish you and the baby. I stared blankly at his busy figure in the kitchen. An unspeakable heaviness weighed on my chest. I was here first. Alice Chun was wonderful, but no matter how good he was, he would never belong to me. I held back the tears in my eyes and smiled as I took the soup he handed me. The marriage was practically a done deal. Once the decision was made, the wedding preparations moved quickly. Atlas Chun was busy outside all day. He usually came back only after I fell asleep and left before I woke up. Only the residual warmth on the bed proved he'd been there. That morning, I rarely ran into him after he'd gotten up. Going out again? Alice Chun leaned lazily against the wall and looked at me, his face expressionless. Today's the day for our wedding photos. I felt dazed and whispered, all right. I truly didn't know what I was anymore. A mistress? I wasn't. A girlfriend? I wasn't that either. Atlas Chun said. The agreement? Haven't you signed it yet? My tone was calm. I tore it up. If I go, can I ever come back? I don't want to. His hands froze while fixing his clothes. He didn't answer me. I closed my eyes. I'm begging you. Let's run away together. We can go anywhere. Okay. The room fell silent for a long time. I looked at him with tears in my eyes. This was the last time. Our last chance. Alice Chun walked up to me and placed his hands on my shoulders. He bent down and looked at me sincerely. Clara, I don't want to lie to you. Everything I have comes from my family. I can't give up my family's connections, resources, wealth, and luxurious life. I love you, but Luna Bai is my most suitable marriage partner. After we marry, the interests of both families will at least double. Be good. Will you go to the US? I promise I'll visit you once a year. I bit my lip, but I didn't fall in love with you for money. I don't want your money. I only want you. Atlas Chun looked at me, and his soft words left me speechless. But you haven't spent little over the years. Can you be more sensible, Clara? I raised my hand but stopped halfway. A sense of powerlessness washed over me. The disappointment in my heart was impossible to hide. I turned my back. Leave. After he left, I took out the business card Luna Bai had left and stared at it for a long time. The front door opened. I stood up and looked over. At the front stood a finely dressed wealthy lady. She looked almost exactly like Atlas Chun. She didn't glance at me properly. I stepped forward to greet her, only to be met with a casual flick of her eyes. Behind her followed respectful property managers, eagerly measuring the room. This house has a great location and nice decoration. It'll sell quickly if we put it on the market. I looked up at the wealthy lady in the middle and said nothing, knowing full well this was them chasing me away. It was also their final ultimatum. Atlas Chun came back almost fuming with anger. He stood in front of his mother, trying hard to suppress his rage. Mom, what are you doing here? I told you I'd handle it. The two went into the study and stayed there for a long time before coming out. My phone rang. It was the director of the orphanage. Clara, I really have no choice. Why hasn't our funding come through? Could you ask Mr. Chun if something's wrong? Several kids in the orphanage are waiting for this money for surgery. My throat was dry. I agreed and said I would. Atlas Chun came out, rubbing his temples. I'll book your flight right now. I stopped him, stared at him for a long time, then spoke slowly. Let's break up. Under Atlas Chun's cold, scrutinizing gaze, I forced out the words, I don't want to be a canary, and I don't want to be a mistress. I don't want my child to lie in the shadows. Before I could finish, Atlas Chun stood up. Are you really going to push me like this? I told you I love you. But you chose Luna Bai. I shouted. You're marrying her. You can't let go of your family, your wealth, your status, everything you have. I can't do this anymore. You can't give us an open, legitimate identity. I'm letting you go. Can't I do that? He fell silent for a moment, grabbed his clothes, and left. Stop talking. Trust me, I'll arrange everything. I sat weakly on the sofa, silent for a long time. Finally, I tremblingly took out my phone and dialed the number on the business card. The call was answered immediately, as if they'd been waiting for me. Luna Bai's voice came through. Agree to go to the US. After you check in, I'll arrange a private jet to pick you up. Once you land, a sum of money enough for your entire life will be transferred to your bank card. The orphanage's funding will also be approved smoothly. In exchange, you must abort this child and never return to this country. I touched my slightly bulging belly and didn't speak for a moment. Luna Bai spoke again. Of course, you can choose to keep the baby. But I can promise you'll lose everything you have. As long as the Bai family exists, I will never divorce Atlas Chun. This child will always be an illegitimate bastard whose father is unknown. My voice felt stuck in my throat. All right. I agree. A smile finally appeared in the woman's voice on the other end. You're a smart woman. I sat on the sofa and watched Atlas Chun pack my things one by one himself. I couldn't help but say, let the housekeeper do it. You should get busy. Atlas Chun sat in front of me, a look of apology on his face. I heard about the orphanage. I already sent people to fix it. The funding will arrive by next month at the latest. I looked away, not daring to meet his eyes, and whispered okay. His lips moved slightly. He turned my shoulders to face him. Clara, I've arranged everything over there. The house, the nanny, the hospital. You don't have to worry about any of it. Once I'm done here, I'll take as much time as I can to visit you. By then, our baby should be crawling, maybe even saying mom and dad. His eyes curved with a smile, as if the scene he imagined was right in front of him. I looked at the man before me, disappointment growing stronger and stronger. He said he'd try to calm, and that the baby might be talking by then. He really planned to keep me hidden away, never asking if I actually wanted that. I could no longer hold back my tears. They rolled down my cheeks one by one. Atlas Chun fumbled for a tissue to wipe my tears, holding me in his arms to comfort me. He repeated over and over, Clara, I love you. I buried my face in his neck and sobbed quietly. He loved me so much he made me his mistress, made my child an illegitimate baby, kept us hidden away. This was the love he spoke of. Atlas Chun worked quickly. My luggage was packed. He cleared his schedule for the day to accompany me through security. After checking in, he walked me to the customs gate. He looked at me, and I looked at him. Neither of us spoke first. Finally, Atlas Chun couldn't hold back and pulled me into his arms. His voice was a little hoarse. You have to take care of yourself. Okay. I will definitely come find you in the US. Wait for me. I didn't answer. I stared quietly at his side face, as if trying to burn Atlas Chun's features into my heart. In the end, I reached out, hugged him briefly, took my things, and curved my lips into a smile. I'm leaving. Atlas Chun stood there, watching the figure walk farther and farther away. Clara Chin's belly was even bigger now. The baby was almost 6 months old. Sometimes he was afraid to even touch her. Her slender frame walked with a slight hobble. Atlas Chun's nose stung, and tears suddenly welled up in his eyes. He knew he owed both mother and child, and he knew how despicable he was. He couldn't let go, yet he couldn't set them free either. The second Clara Chin crossed the customs border, Atlas Chun's heart suddenly twisted violently. It felt like he was about to lose the most precious thing in the world, the pain twisting his face. He clutched his chest and shouted loudly, Clara. His voice echoed at the customs gate. He saw Clara Chin glance back at him. Then she turned, and her figure vanished into the crowd. Atlas Chun didn't leave. He stood in front of the airport big screen the whole time, staring at the flight Clara Chin was supposed to take. He watched the status change from waiting to boarding, and finally to departed. Only then did he move his numb legs and leave. Back home, he walked into the bedroom out of habit. When he opened the door, he saw an empty room. Usually when he came back, Clara Chin would be sitting at her vanity messing with all kinds of weird little things, ready to try them on his face one by one. Or she'd be lying on the bed, scrolling her phone while eating fruit cut by the housekeeper. She'd always jump up and throw herself into his arms, chattering about all kinds of gossip. But facing the cold, quiet scene in front of him, he finally realized Clara Chin was really gone. A few hours ago, he'd put her on that plane with his own hands. Atlas Chun untied his tie and tossed it casually on the floor, throwing himself heavily onto the bed. The room still smelled strongly of her. He rolled over, buried his face in the quilt, and took a deep breath. The days that followed seemed to pass quickly. Engagement, registration, then the wedding. Atlas Chun sat in the dressing room, staring non-stop at photos sent from the US on his phone. A simple picture, but he looked at it countless times. His fingertips traced the woman's face in the photo, a smile forming on his lips. Her belly was flat now. The people he left in the US had sent word. 3 months ago, Clara Chin had given birth to a son. That night, he'd been too excited to sleep, staring at flight tickets on his app over and over. In the end, reason won out. He turned off his phone and told himself he couldn't go yet. At least, Not until Luna Bai got pregnant. Only then would Clara and the baby be safe. He didn't dare call Clara Chin or send her any messages. He was afraid of hearing her cry, afraid she'd say she was living badly. He was also afraid he'd soften and fly to her without a second thought. So from the moment she boarded the plane, he'd cut off all contact with her unilaterally. He would make it up to them later, he thought. Mr. Chen, the wedding is starting. Alice Chen put his phone away, took Luna Bai's hand from her father, and walked step by step toward the stage. His peripheral vision swept the crowd. Everyone wore bright smiles. Only he felt like an empty shell without a soul. After the wedding, they went to Europe for vacation as Luna Bai wished. He accompanied her to check in at various local shops and buy all kinds of quirky trinkets. Their relationship was much better than before. If he hadn't met Clara Chin first, he might really have fallen for her. What had once been once-a-week intimacy became 3 or 4 times a week. 3 months after returning from the honeymoon, he began taking over the combined businesses of both families. With their powerful alliance, the stocks of both families more than doubled. At a family dinner, Luna Bai suddenly bent over and retched. Everyone at the table looked over. Luna Bai was pregnant. That same night, Alice Chen packed his bags and bought a ticket to the US. He dragged his luggage, almost rushing out the door. Luna Bai leaned against the staircase and looked at him. Where are you going? Alice Chen gripped his suitcase tightly and said, You know. She laughed softly. You won't find her. Clara Chin never went to the US. The photos sent to you were fake the whole time. Clara, congratulations on your graduation. Which company offered you a job? I held my graduation certificate and looked at my classmate beside me. Hong Kong. I went back to my small rented apartment and threw myself onto the bed. These days leading up to graduation had been exhausting. I pulled several all-nighters in a row, and now that I finally had my certificate, I could finally relax. My eyelids could no longer stay open. I lay down and fell into a deep sleep. Before drifting off, I sighed softly. 4 years here, and I finally graduated. The offer from the Hong Kong company lay quietly in my email inbox. Back then, right after I passed customs, Luna Bai's men sent me to Thailand. The day after I landed, I went to the UK for an abortion. Perhaps she didn't trust me. Luna Bai came in person, leaving a nanny to look after me during my recovery. That same day, a large sum of money entered my bank account, enough to live on for the rest of my life, just as she'd said. From then on, I cut off all contact with mainland China. I changed every single one of my accounts. After recovering, I came to New Zealand and applied to a local university. A few days ago, I told Luna Bai I was moving to Hong Kong. She replied with one message: suit yourself. On the plane to Hong Kong, I felt a little nervous, but mostly a strange hesitation about returning home. I barely slept the whole trip. It wasn't until I landed in Hong Kong that I felt a sense of unreality. A few days later, I went to the company and started work smoothly. Clara, go check the PowerPoint in the conference room this afternoon. Make sure it works properly, no mistakes. A big client from the mainland is coming to discuss a deal tonight. Don't mess this up. I nodded and headed to the conference room. Honestly, I never thought I'd run into Alice Chen so soon. I was bending over to adjust the PowerPoint on the computer, muttering to myself that it was a good thing my supervisor told me to check. Otherwise, it would have been a disaster when the client arrived. But things always go wrong when you're in a hurry. No matter how I adjusted it, it wouldn't work. Suddenly a figure loomed behind me. That scent was engraved into my bones. I froze completely, slowly turning my head to see Alice Chen's profile. My mind went blank. His fingers moved quickly, fixing the computer in just a few taps. Afterward, he stood up without hesitation, keeping a little distance from me. He didn't say a word, just turned and left. I stood there watching his back, a sharp pain suddenly shooting through my heart. I grabbed my bag in a panic and stumbled out of there. The next day, I still wasn't allowed to attend meetings at that level. My team leader led a little girl over and placed her hand in mine. "Watch this little girl for me, will you? Just to make sure she doesn't get lost or hurt." She was tiny, holding a big strawberry bear, standing there quietly. She didn't cry or make a fuss. I instantly liked her. "Sister, you're so pretty." I smiled and sat with her at my desk, playing games. When the conference room door opened, she jumped off her chair and ran toward the man at the front. "Daddy." I froze in place, staring dumbfounded at Atlas Chen kneeling down to pick her up. I stood up in a daze and rushed to the bathroom stall. I bit my finger hard to hold back any sobs. It made sense. 4 years had passed. No wonder Luna Bai had let me come back so easily. I gently placed my palm over my stomach. If my child had been born, he or she would probably be just as cute as her. When I got home that night, I saw Atlas Chen leaning against the door smoking. When I stepped out of the elevator, he lowered his eyes and stamped the cigarette out under his foot. "Won't you invite me in?" I unlocked the door. "Come in. It's a bit messy, sorry." Atlas Chen sat on the sofa and frowned. "Is Luna Bai that poor? This is all she gave you?" I was quiet for a moment. A 200 square foot apartment in Hong Kong is actually pretty nice. Atlas Chen's gaze stayed fixed on me, refusing to move away. I thought I was dreaming. "When I saw you, I didn't even dare speak to you. I was scared that if I woke up, you'd be gone again." Sometimes I jolt awake in the middle of the night and ask myself, did I make you hate me that much? Did you hate our baby that badly? Clara Ching, I could strangle you. I forced an ugly smile. "But you have a child now, don't you?" Atlas Chen said nothing. "After a long while, our baby boy or girl?" I swallowed hard. "I don't know. The nurse didn't let me see, and I didn't ask." Atlas Chen stood up abruptly, his hands on either side of me. "Clara Ching, why didn't you die abroad? You heartless thing. It would have been better if you died there, so you wouldn't torture me every day. In my 30 years of life, I've never been played like this, like a lost dog looking for its owner. How could you be so cruel?" I turned my head away. "I told you. I didn't want to be a mistress, and I didn't want my child to lie in the dark. You abandoned us first. You can't have everything. You chose your family. You couldn't let go of your luxurious life. It was all your choice. We're here now. Can't we just move on?" We knew each other better than anyone, and we both knew exactly where to stab to hurt the most. Atlas Chen trembled all over, resting his head in the crook of my neck. Wetness soon soaked my shoulder, "But I don't want to. Please, have pity on me. Come back. I regret it. I looked for you. Luna Bai said you never went to the US, but I didn't believe her. I called your number. I tried every single way to reach you. I flew to the US, then searched all over the UK. I never found you. When I stood in the hospital where you had the procedure, do you know what I was thinking? I was scared you were living badly. I was scared you couldn't take care of yourself. Luna Bai refused to tell me where you were, so I searched country after country. During that time, I spent more time in the air than on the ground. But I couldn't find you. I really couldn't." I spoke softly. "We can't go back, Atlas Chen. I'm getting married." Atlas Chen froze. "What did you say?" I pushed him away. "I'm getting married. I've been in New Zealand all these years. My fiancé is from Hong Kong. We met in New Zealand, and we're going to get married soon. He comes from a good family and is good looking. Not as rich as you, but still wealthy." He gritted his teeth and stared at me. "You're lying." My tone was calm. "I'm not. 4 years is long enough for many things to happen. Your child can run and call you daddy now. You've multiplied the company's market value many times over. Why can't I get married? Am I supposed to cry every day like a resentful woman, waiting for you, and keep entangling with you for who knows how long? That's not how it works, Atlas Chun. You made your choice back then. Now this is mine. I stood up and pulled an invitation card from my bag. I'm getting married in 3 months. I opened the door. You should leave. Let's not see each other again if possible. Atlas Chun walked past me heavily, not looking back. His words came out through gritted teeth. You're something else, Clara Chin. I gripped the door frame tightly. You were the one who gave up. On my wedding day, I met Luna Bai in the dressing room, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. She LED'd the little girl from that day and sat down beside me casually. I always said you were a smart woman. Smart people don't let themselves lie badly. I smiled at her. Atlas Chun was right about one thing. Luna Bai wasn't a bad person. She'd given the money she promised, arranged everything, even brought a nanny after my abortion. I felt complicated emotions toward her. Luna Bai handed the child to the nanny, and everyone else left the room. Actually, I don't love him. I've loved someone else for 10 years. Marrying him was just convenient. We both know that, but we needed an heir. We can't get divorced. For families like ours, any little move affects the stock price. Scandals can't touch us. She pulled out a cigarette and lit it slowly. I actually envy you. You get to choose how to live your life. I stood there silently, not knowing what to say. Luna Bai took a card from her bag. A wedding gift. We don't have much else to give, only money. Keep it for yourself, so you'll have more confidence after marriage. She stood up and glanced back at me before leaving. Do you love him? I pressed my lips together. I don't dislike him. In this world, how many things really go as we wish? Most of life is missed chances and unrequited love. At my wedding, Atlas Chun attended with his whole family. He sat with his wife and daughter at the guest table for the bride's side, drawing plenty of attention. Many people who had declined the invitation or only sent assistance with gifts now showed up in person, trying to build a connection with Atlas Chun. Everyone guessed I had ties to the capital's elite circles. My husband and I toasted table after table until we reached Atlas Chen's. Bai Wanwei reached out and hugged me in front of everyone, a perfect smile on her face. Congratulations on your marriage. Come visit Beijing sometime. Atlas Chen stared at me for a long time, then drained his glass in one gulp. Congratulations. I smiled, linked my arm through my husband's, and finished my own drink. After the wedding, Atlas Chen didn't stay long. Taking the time to attend had already been his limit. After my husband and I saw him off, he asked me, when did you get to know the Chun family? A few years ago. It's all in the past now. A year later, my child was born. Luna Bai came in person and placed a pure gold longevity lock on the baby. Another boy. Tears immediately fell from my eyes. Thank you. Years later, I stepped onto mainland soil with my son for the first time. At a business banquet, he looked around excitedly, his Hong Kong accent in Mandarin stumbling. Mommy, is this Beijing? It's so pretty. Atlas Chun looked at the mother and son in the distance, and his eyes suddenly turned red. If they had stayed together back then, if their child had been born, he would probably be happier than he was now. The scariest thing in love is not the gap between rich and poor, but sober selfishness and calculation. Knowing he could not give her a real identity and a bright future, the hero kidnapped her with love and tied her down with a child. He was unwilling to give up family interests yet wanted to possess her tenderness, eventually ruining both of them. The heroine went from humble expectation to complete awakening, refused to be a secret lover, cut off the past decisively, and restarted her life on her own. This tells us that true love is never wronged, compromise, or hidden in the dark, but equal respect and openness. Women should never give up themselves for love, nor trade dignity for material things. Only by staying sober, independent and sticking to the bottom line can one control life. Do not overestimate love or underestimate human nature. Stopping losses in time and loving and strengthening oneself are lifelong compulsory courses.